Hi guys, my name is Pat Goffe. I'm so glad you can join us today. Today I'm going to be reading one of my favorite books written by yours truly, myself, entitled Eye of an Eagle. Hey guys, waited for me. I'm not going to be able to play at the game tomorrow. Why not? Dan said. Mr. Gobbler wrote me a detention. Bob and Dan looked very disappointed. I don't know how he saw me slide down the rails of the stairs. He had to be at least 100 feet away. At first, I thought someone had told on me, but after listening to him, I realized he actually saw me himself. You have to see his eyes. They look inhumane. One in particular, he gives me the creeps. I explained to my dad that Mr. Gobbler was at least 150 feet away when he caught me. My dad said, "Son, it seemed as though Mr. Gobbler has the eye of an eagle." I had no clue what he was talking about, but I sure was not about to ask him to explain himself. He's too long-winded. There's no such thing as the shorter version of the story with him. I did not want to sit down for story time. He has to put in every last detail. I would have been there for hours before he finally answered my question. That night, I had the most unusual dream. A nightmare that kept me tossing and turning all night. I couldn't wait to wake up from my dream. I dreamt that Mr. Gobbler had an eye operation that replaced one of his eye with an eagle's eye, and he was posing as a teacher when he was actually an undercover secret agent. Ah! I woke up screaming my lungs out. Now I was curious. I wondered what Dad meant by the eye of an eagle. I had all sorts of thoughts running through my mind. Dad had already gone to work, so I had to wait until the evening for him to shed some light on the matter. On an average morning, my normal routine would be for me to arrive at school and meet up with my friends. This, however, was no average morning. I was on a mission. I wanted to know if Mr. Gobbler was really a teacher or if he was a Secret Service agent. I spotted him next to the lockers near the boys' bathroom. He was facing the hallway. I walked among several students in the crowded hallway, and just as I passed him, he blurted, "See you in detention, Jason Drew. Make sure you're on time." I froze in my steps and I looked back. He never changed his position. He was talking to George. How did he see me? I thought. "Yes, Mr. Gobbler," I said. During the detention, I kept my eye on him. Of course, I was discreet about it. It was amazing. If I were to replay the entire detention period, it would sound something like this. "Kathy, do not put that pencil down again until you're finished. Carol, spit the gum out and you have another detention. Greg, bring that note up here. Paul, you will not be getting this iPhone until the last day of school. Jake, take that pencil out of your ear." The entire time he was looking sideways facing the window. How in the world did he see us? Could he see our reflection in the window? Mrs. Johnson walked in to relieve him. I waited until he walked out and I asked her if I could use the restroom. He always heads to the restroom after detention, like clockwork. So I sneaked into his classroom while the janitor wasn't looking. Just as I thought, Mr. Gobbler came in his classroom next. I was watching him through his closet door. Oh no, before I knew it, I let out this big I was caught red-handed. I was doomed. And I had no witnesses to see that what was about to happen to me. He walked towards the closet and there we were, man versus eagle. I screamed and he asked me to calm down. All I could think at the moment was that I should have gone to the bathroom first because I just wet my pants. Mr. Gobbler asked me what I was doing. I told him that my curiosity first started when he saw me from about 100 feet away sliding down the rail. Next, my dad told me that he might have an eye of an eagle. and I had a nightmare about it last night. He had also reminded me of my detention in Hallway when he wasn't even looking my way. Finally, all the things he caught everyone doing during detention. I told him I just couldn't see how he could see so well. He burst out laughing. His laughter seemed longer than eternity. He told me to change into my PE uniform and meet him in front of the school. I heard him laughing as I walked down hall to the bathroom to change. I never heard anyone laugh like that. It sounded like what I imagined the eagle's cry would be. To add more insult to injury, I ran into Cindy. With my wet pants on, I wanted to crawl into a hole at that very moment. Why now? It took 3 months for her to realize that I even existed. Cindy and her friends walked by me holding their nose. I was devastated. Boy, do girls have a keen sense of smell. I changed out of my wet clothes and met up with Mr. Gobbler. He said, "Let me go down this list of yours. Everyone knows the school has surveillance cameras. I happened to pass by the security office and the door was open, and I saw you on a screen. When I reminded you about your detention, I was talking to George, and in the middle of our conversation, he said he wanted to catch up with you. I figured you were close enough to hear me, and in the detention, I always asked the security guards in the surveillance room to look out for me. Through my earpiece, they told me everything they saw." I felt so silly and embarrassed. He started laughing all over again. After he settled down, I asked him if he knew what my dad meant when he said he had an eye of an eagle. He said eagles and birds in general have considerably better vision than most animals. An eagle's vision is 8 times better than a human's. Plus, eagles don't have eyeballs like ours. Their eyes are tubes that focus in on objects the way a set of binoculars would. Birds have to turn their heads from side to side to see things that aren't right in front of them. I guess my puzzled look gave me away. I had no idea what any of that had to do with me. "What does that have to do with you?" He said. "It's an idiom and a figure of speech called a metaphor. If someone has an eagle eye, they notice everything, even very small details. I wanted to ask Mr. Gobbler if turkeys had eagle eyes, but I thought better of it. My granddad told me that turkeys were dumb. He explained to me that he was wounded while serving in the U.S. Army, and that he had only one good eye. He told me he wished he had the eye of an eagle." Just then my dad pulled up. He looked a bit puzzled because I had my PE uniform on. Mr. Gobbler greeted my dad and told him, "Your son has a wild imagination. I'll let him tell you all about it." I got in the car and I told my dad I did not want to talk about it. I would explain later, and that I was extremely embarrassed. Since I promised my grandparents I would have dinner with them that evening, Dad dropped me off at their place. Of course, my grandmother immediately noticed I had my PE uniform. I told her the whole story. She told me that integrity is doing the right thing even when I think no one's watching, and having an eye of an eagle is a trait I may want to adapt because it will get me further in life, and it's important to always do the right thing. Granddad just winked as if to say, "That's true." The end. Boys and girls, integrity means doing the right thing even when no one's watching. So if you find a dollar bill on the floor that you saw where it came from, do you take it and put it in your pocket? Oh no, you give it back. If your mom tells you not to take any cookies out the cookie jar, and there's so many cookies in the cookie jar, do you try to take a cookie when she's not looking? No, you don't. That's integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing even when you think no one is watching. Until next time, bye.